Now I've come out on this wettest of days, pretty cold day as well, fully knowing it's going to be chucking it down, but I decided to come out anyway because if I don't, I won't get anything, and secondly, I'm going to explore a different area for a change. Now my intention today is to make the most of this lovely lush woodland vegetation. I'm just trying to catch my bearings now. I'm walking over to another lake and I have come equipped to shoot in the rain. I've got my brolly and I've got the clamp for the tripod so I can set up underneath it providing there's not too much wind. So fingers crossed. I'm just recceing at the moment and I have seen a few things I like, so yeah, I'm feeling quite confident. Well, I've come across my first scene I'm going to take today, and it's quite an ordinary scene. It's not really a landscape so much because it's a stile crossing a wall I've just come over, but I was really taken by the composition and the beautiful red berries that are growing in the tree. It's obviously a square format crop with my Bronica, and I'm using the brolly to keep the persistent rain off. I've shot it at f11 and I'm using Kodak Ektar. Ektar being the perfect film for this because vivid colours throughout, very, very strong colours. Quite a tight crop, 80mm lens, so I'm really excluding a lot of the tree, a lot of the foreground. It's just the style and some of that beautiful colour. Oh, well, I'm just taking some shelter. I've just run up a hill. Well, not run, really, strolled up a very steep hill, and I'm getting some shelter from the rain. It is beautiful, but very hard to shoot in and very hard to concentrate, so just give it 5 minutes, I think. Now there are some very nice looking shots around here, but not for today sadly, because the direction in which I want to shoot, which is behind me, is where the rain is coming from, and it is very, very horizontal and there's nothing I can do to stop that getting into the lens. It is beautiful though, and I will be back for another visit, but in the meantime I think I should head back into the woodland area and revisit some of those earlier compositions I spied, because they are a bit more undercover. Well, I'm not going to try and dress it up. This is absolutely miserable. I actually followed another footpath that was on my Ordnance Survey application and it went absolutely nowhere. Even the sheep didn't want to go up those hills, and I fell over a few times and I've got very wet now, so I'm retracing my steps and doing a sensible thing because I'm on my own. I don't want to get injured and lost, and I'm going to head back the same route I took, try and get my enthusiasm back and try and get some shots on the way back down the trail. Now I have regained my composure and I've got myself a composition you can see behind me. Sorry, just wipe the lens, some rain getting on it again. And I've got two trees essentially in the shot. Not that strong particularly, but when I use the short telephoto, the 150mm on my Bronica, it crops right in, it cuts out the sky, it cuts out the foreground wall. Now what appeals to me, partly this composition, is the fact that I'm sheltered. It is drizzling through the trees but heavy rain outside, so it's possible to carry on shooting. Now, because I've got the tripod quite high to avoid including the foreground wall because of some distracting white rocks in there, I've had to use my prism finder because I can't look down on my waist level finder, so I find it pretty much essential to bring the prism finder with me. And also I find typically with the telephoto lens, 150mm and longer, I do find working with the prism easier for some reason. With the wide angles I do like the waist level finder. I don't know, maybe it's just the way the eye wanders around the frame. So yes, it is a very, very pleasant little shot this really. 2 frames with Ektar, and it's 2 seconds and 4 seconds at f/16. Measured exposure was 2 seconds. The additional exposure is just to give me a bit of leeway should I want a bit more shadow detail. Now I know well enough that these images are nothing special, average at best I would say, and it's very much a case of trying to discover some new locations and making the most of the time I've got to get out. Wouldn't normally choose to come out in this sort of weather because it's foul, but I am using it as a recce exercise. Got to keep your eye in and your trigger finger. Very difficult to be ready for those amazing conditions if you don't practice regularly. Well, I have to be absolutely honest, the conditions have deteriorated considerably. I tried to set my camera up a couple of times, but the rain was just washing all over it, even with the brolly, and the wind out in the exposed areas where I wanted to shoot was too strong and it was moving the tripod with the brolly on it. So I think I'm going to call it quits. I would actually say the weather has got the better of me today. I was determined to get out though, and it's been a good walk, and I have managed a bit of a recce. I've kept my trigger finger in, got my eye in, shot half a roll of film. I may develop it, I may wait for another day, but no trips wasted. Everything's a learning experience and I'm still glad I came out. So anyway, thank you very much for bearing with me on this wet walk, and I'll see you again soon.